Welcome to Christ the King Church, Shelby, North Carolina.
I'd like to welcome everybody to Christ the King this morning. I'm Jim Bailey. I'm one of the associate pastors here at Christ the King. And I hope that something is said this morning that will cause you to be charged, that will cause your eyes to be opened, that you'll be able to see things as they really are, that we're to serve a God that is risen, a God that is concerned with our situations, a God that cares for each and every one of us. The lesson begins in the book of Mark, the 12th chapter, beginning with the 13th verse. And I'm going to read off the lesson talks about people coming to Jesus asking questions, and he's going to answer some of these questions. It may not be the way that they wanted them to be answered, but the way that God turns things around to cause people to look within themselves and see how they would answer the questions. It said, later they sent some of the Pharisees and the Herodians to Jesus to catch him in his words. They came to him and said, Teacher, we know that thou art a man of integrity. You are swayed by others, because you pay no attention to who they are, but you teach the way of God in accordance with the truth. Is it right to pay the imperial tax to Caesar or not? Should we pay or should we not? But Jesus knew their hypocrisy. Why are you trying to trap me, he asked. Bring me a denarius and let me look at it. They brought the coin, and he asked them, whose image is this, and whose inscription? Caesar's, they replied. Then Jesus said to them, give back to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's. And they were amazed at him. Then the Sadducees, who say there is no resurrection, came to him with a question. Let me stop there. Did you notice how that Jesus turned all their questions around and trapped them in their own questions? Jesus looked about and he saw the goodness of God in his fellow man. We've studied the story of Zacchaeus, where Jesus came and said, Zacchaeus, come down, for I'm going to your house today. He was a sinner. But what did Jesus say? I'm come to seek and to save that which was lost. That's what Jesus was trying to turn around, these questions that the Pharisees and the Herodians were coming to him that day, asking him questions, trying to trap him, and to bring a charge against him. But Jesus turned everything around and he said, I've got a coin in my pocket. It's got a picture of a man on the face of it. And across the top it says, United States. Who does this coin belong to? It's in my pocket, but who does it belong to? It belongs to the United States of America, but it's on loan to me. The same coins that Jesus held up to them, they belong to Caesar. They belong to the Roman Empire. And that's the reason Jesus said, render unto Caesar that which belonged to Caesar. When we get our heads on straight and we start to think about all the situations that we're in that there is nothing that really belongs to us. Nothing. Even the houses that we've got paid for, we've got the title to it or deed to them, whatever. We pay taxes on them every year, and if you don't pay the taxes, the government comes and takes it away from you. It belongs to the government. Everything in this country belongs to the government. If you don't believe it, take your kids out of school and don't send them back to school and see what happens. Quit paying your taxes and see what happens. Quit paying the taxes on your property and see what happens. Render unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Jesus tried to tell us in his word, says, you're not of this world. Over in Matthew, we find the story of the lily of the fields. It says, they take no thought. Said, Solomon in all of his glory were not arrayed as one of them. See how they were clothed? The master clothed them. He gave them the leaves that grew up. He gave them the blossom that blossomed in all of the splendor. And it says that Solomon, in all of his glory, were not arrayed as one of them. Can you imagine a king with all of his royal apparel? I'm in a suit this morning. I think I look pretty good. I think I dress good. But you know, I could not compare myself to the creation that God gave to his creation. The lilies of the fields, the birds of the air. I've seen some beautiful birds in my lifetime. I've seen the parrots that have all the multicolors. They're beautiful. And our master created them. Those belong to God. All the things belong to God. And that's the reason Jesus said, if it's a coin and it's got somebody else's name on it, it belongs to them. But I'm telling you today that I created you. I created you to be a vessel of service for me. And you belong to me. And God is trying to tell us that the things of this world, they don't have any sway on us. They don't have any hold on us. But when we trust in God, that when we depend on him, that God has control of us and we belong to him. And one day, we're going to see him face to face. One day, we're going to stand before him and we're going to see him as he truly is. And we're going to look at ourselves and see ourselves as we truly are, as vessels of service for the true and the living God. We don't belong to this world. This world has no stamp on us. There's no emblem of anything in this world stamped on us. I don't have anything that's written on my forehead or on my body that says property of the United States of America. Once upon a time, I wore a set of dog tags that says that I was the property of the United States of America. But I don't wear them anymore. Because I got a little paper that says that Jimmy Bailey, on August of 1971, is officially discharged from the United States Army. In other words, I was released from my obligation to the United States of America. I was set free. But you know, even before that time, there was another power that had charge of my life. There was something else that had charge and had rule in my life. And it was the Son of the Most High God, Jesus Christ. He had put a stamp on my life and says, you belong to me. And I walked many years knowing that I was the property of Jesus Christ, that I belong to him, and I don't belong to this world. I don't belong to anything of this world. I pay my taxes when they're due. I may grumble and complain about my taxes, but I still pay them because I know if I don't pay them, somebody's coming to take something away that I've paid the sweat of my brow to earn the money to pay for. But Jesus is trying to tell us that when something belongs to somebody else, you render it back to them. If you're walking down the street and you see someone that's fallen by the wayside, and you look at them and you says, they might have a little money. Why don't I just go over and check out their pockets? Whatever they got in their pockets belong to them. It don't belong to us. That's the reason why I don't like a thief, is because he takes something that belongs to somebody else. And I look at the government today, and I look at them almost as the thief that is going, trying to take something that really doesn't belong to them, but because their picture is on it, they want to take it all. And everybody looks around and they says, well, they're only taking a certain amount. But have you ever considered just the amount that they're really taking? They take your sales tax at 7%. They take your property tax at somewhere probably around 3.5% to 5%. Well, that's only 12%, right? And then they take your North Carolina state tax on the money you earn, which is probably about another 17%. United States government takes approximately 17, 18%. We're getting up close to 50% now, right? Then you start to think, I go to the gas station. I pay 40 cents plus on the gallon of gas. That's what, another 6, 8%, a little bit more. I go to the grocery store and I pay a certain price for a certain item. But you know, if I look in the background of that item, I've got the taxes that were paid by the middleman that bought the product from the farmer. When he passes on that same item, he passes on that tax that he paid to the next person. The supermarket buys that item from the middleman. They pay a certain price for it, so they pass on that tax that the middleman paid They figure it in on the price that they put on the shelf of the item that they have. So we've got 2 more taxes that's added into that product. I don't think it's right. But it belongs to the United States of America. Every coin that you have in your pocket, if it's American, belongs to the United States of America. So they could take it all, and you wouldn't have anything to say about it because their name is on it. You don't find your name on anything that is printed by the United States of America. It belongs to them. It's on loan to us. So give it to them. What Jesus said, take no thought to the things that you shall wear, the things that you shall put on. Said, I care for you, and I will provide for you regardless of the situation. I will undergird you. I will lift you up, and I will go with you even to the ends of the ages. I will never leave you nor forsake you. So regardless of the situation of how much the government charges us in tax or whatever, just remember that it all belongs to them, but we belong to God. We don't belong to them. If we are purchased by the blood of Jesus Christ, we are bought with a price, and we belong to him, and there is nothing that this world can say about us because they don't have a hold on us. We belong to him, and we're going to serve him, and we're going to render ourselves back to him, forgetting the things of this world and putting them aside because they belong to this world, but we belong to him, and we're looking for another kingdom. You know, we find over in the book of Genesis where Abraham was looking for a city that was built by God. We're looking for a home that is built by Jesus Christ. What Jesus said in his word said, I go to prepare a place for you, that where I am, there you may be also. Does that sound like that he's concerned about the taxes of this land? Or does it seem like that he's concerned about you and me and where are we going to spend eternity? Jesus cared for us. So when you pay your taxes, don't grumble and complain about it, even though you don't feel like it's right. Just remember that it all belongs to them. It's just loaned to us. We may earn it by the sweat of our brow. We may earn it when we go out every day, hammer a few nails, cut a few boards. I'm good at that. But Jesus cared for us. And he don't want us to be tripped up. He don't want us to be lost or overcharged with the cares of this life. Jesus cared for us. And he wants us to walk in newness of life. He wants us to walk upright and holy before him and be what he designed for us to be. We find over in the book of Exodus where Moses is on the backside of the desert. And he's walking around and he sees something that's out of the ordinary. All of us know the story of the burning bush that didn't burn. And we find that he stepped aside to see what was happening. And you know, if we step aside sometime and see what God is doing, the taxes and the cares of this life will fall by the wayside. We'll be like Zacchaeus that climbed up the tree because he wanted to see Jesus. We'll climb up our trees because we want to see Jesus and we want to see what he's doing. And we're going to find that he comes up to the bottom of the tree and he looks up at us and he said, Jimmy, or whatever your name is, he's going to say to you, say, come on down, for I'm going to your house for dinner today. I'm going to make my abode in your house today. And I'm going to be a friend that will stick closer than a brother. I remember when I was a young lad, I was walking down the street one day and my brother rode by me in the car. Notice I said rode by me. Here I am. He threw up his hand, but he went right on by. Here I am still walking. You know, Jesus won't do you that way. Jesus will be like the Good Samaritan that saw the man that was beaten, that fell among thieves on the road down to Jericho. He bent down beside of him. He saw what the condition of the man was, and he went back to his donkey, and he got some oil, and he got some wine, and he got some bandages, and he went back to that man, and he gave what he had to that man. But we find that the religious leaders of that day, that when they looked at the man, it says that they went on the other side and passed him by. Jesus won't do that to you, but the world will. You may look at the world and say, the world will never reject me, the world will never give up on me. But the world will be just like those religious leaders and the Pharisees and the Sadducees and those other people that came by and saw the man laying in the ditch dying, and they went on the other side of the road. That's what the world will do for you. But Jesus will be like the Good Samaritan. He'll get right down in the ditch with you. He'll give the best that he has. He'll pour in the oil and the wine, and he'll bandage up your wounds. But he won't leave you there in the ditch. What the Good Samaritan picked up the man out of the ditch, picked him up, and he put him on his own beast of burden, and he carried him to an inn, and he looked at the innkeeper and says, I want you to take care of this person till he gets better. And then he took some of those Caesar coins, you know, that was revenue for that time, and he says, I want you to take care of him, and says, if it been any more than what I got here, said when I come back, said I'll pay you in full. That's what Jesus does for us. He finds us in a ditch, wounded, dejected, even dying. And he pours in the oil and the wine, he binds up our wounds. He takes us to a place of refuge. He pays the price for us to be there. And he says, if there's anything more, I'll take care of it. Will the world do that for you? When you get down and out, and all those coins that says United States of America are no longer in your pocket. All of them has blown to the wind. What do? Do you say, hey, I'm broke, I don't have anything to depend on? Said, government, will you please help? And they look at you and laugh at you. I remember when I was in the military, when I came back from Vietnam, I didn't stop all my allotments that I had going to my wife. And you know, when I got back to the States, the allotment was more than I was making. So I didn't draw a paycheck. My wife was on the East Coast, and I was at Fort Lewis, Washington, all the way on the West Coast. So I called my wife, and I said, I'd like for you to send me some money. And you know, they had enough gall to say, he spent all his money, now he's asking for hers. I didn't have anything. There was 3 months that I drew $10. How far can you go on $10? I mean, I remember back in 70, 71, you know, $10 would go a whole lot further than it does today. I mean, you can go to McDonald's almost today with $10, and you need some more change to go with it to buy something. But back then, $10 back in the 70s, it went a little further than it does now, but it don't cover 3 months. But you know, I found the solution to that. I cut the allotments up to a certain point, and I started getting paid. That man that was laying in the ditch that met the Good Samaritans, he met the source of what he needed in the Good Samaritan. I'm here to tell you today that when we meet Jesus, we meet the source to what we have need of. The government doesn't have what we need. The United States of America don't have what we need. Europe doesn't have what we need. Russia don't have what we need. The Middle East don't have what we need. But Jesus is what we have need of. If we just trust in him, we're going to be like the man that was laying in the ditch that met the Good Samaritan, and he took care of us. Jesus will take care of us, and he will go with us all the way to the ends of the ages. I hope that something's been said to you out there in Radio Land that will cause you to realize that Jesus cares for you. He's concerned about you. He loves you, and he will never leave you nor forsake you, but he'll go with you to the ends of the ages. I know I didn't get through the lesson this morning, but I hope that I've said something that will cause us to realize that Jesus has all the answers that we have need of. Jesus is what we need more than anything in this world. We trust in him. We depend on him. He'll go with us all the way. He'll never leave us nor forsake us. And we'll sit down together with him one day in that New Jerusalem. And we'll see that mansion that he's prepared for us. It won't have a stamp on it that says anything from this world. But it says it was bought with a price that none of us could pay. The blood of Jesus. And we're his. So everything that he has, we also have. And we're going to serve him all the days of our life. And we're going to walk with him and talk with him and abide with him forever. Can you imagine sitting together with him on the edge of a bank with a fishing rod and says, oh, we're going to catch this in today. Because we know him and he controls the fishes. You know, when he owed taxes, he sent Peter down to fish. Peter caught the fish. He took the gold coin out of his mouth and paid the taxes. He'll do the same for us. Peace of the Lord be with you.